Days Vault, my fellow gamers. Here we are again. I decided to go ahead and do just like my airbrushing equipment, what I use, what works for me and whatnot. So here to start out, basically the heart of the operation is a no-name air compressor. And this thing, it's fairly new and it's been working really good. So I have no complaints with this brand. So just it's spraygunner.com. It's their own compressor, and it works very well. It's easy to adjust. All the control surfaces are here. Everything that's important is in red, on, off, and then the release valve for the tank. Usually I don't use that because I have napkins and stuff, paper towels, and so when I pop this, release the air, it comes out and blows my napkins and Q-tips all over the place, and it kind of pisses me off. So what I do usually, just to release the pressure, just unplug the air hose. I use a clear hose. I think it, just nice, looks fancy. Plus it came with my Harder & Steinbeck stuff. So right here, you have to keep that bad boy clean. So of course I've got my straight pieces, my brushes, a new pack of brushes that it's unopened, an old toothbrush. Let me tell you, fight dry tip with toothbrushes. You're gonna want pipettes. You're gonna want a bunch of pipettes if you're using a different. If you're trying to load up the airbrush with things like aggregates, earth shade, or Nuln oil. That's a technique people use. They prime a model steel or whatnot, and then they just spray all over it with Nuln oil. But it looks funky. I don't care for it. I do napkins, little bitty paper towels. Everyone has them. Easy to get, and they're really nice. And absorbent. Hey, go for it. My toothpicks are always handy, but I do like Q-tips. Q-tips, whenever it's not flowing right, you just press the air gently on it. You can see when it begins to flow. You can, they're very absorbent, so you can go into that cup and start getting funk out, dried bits and all that good stuff out. So that's what I use. It's my preference. Here I have a Blowout Cup, usually, and it's a Wada and whatnot, but usually I don't use it. I don't like how I can't see the flow. Usually it's when you're cleaning out your brush or getting out that last little bit of color from your cup that you use one of these. Just to blow your system out, get it clean with the either water, and I just keep one of these handy and this is just for cleaning. When I'm diluting and whatnot, I use, the X28 thinner. This stuff is righteous. So, of course, it's expensive, but it's awesome. So, but yeah, this is mostly just an airbrush holder, to be honest. I don't really use it all that often. An old tuna can with old used up Q-tips. And that's just some paint. Don't let that bother you. And this is more paint. You have to have your paint. And I have a bunch of it. This is an old camo thing. It came with a Harder & Steinbeck, which is now just basically a terrain airbrush. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a nice Harder & Steinbeck brush, but it's not the, infinity and whatnot. So it's still a nice brush. It feels good in the hand. The dual action works very well. It's just mine's been beat up a bit, and came with the Vallejo cleaner, which is almost done. But this is the World War II era camo set that came out. Expensive set, but comes in airbrush. So, and a good airbrush is that at that. I usually blow out the Vallejo. It's what I do. I have a rust set as well, and this is just a metallic set because I use a bunch of metallics. And then my bad boy, my Infinity. So yes, it's expensive, but it is worth every penny. I stand by Harder and Steinbeck. They are fantastic airbrush manufacturers, and this is it's what you want. You can get very fine details with this, and it's just made really well. You can also adjust everything. It even has a little bump back here. You can adjust to the finest details with this airbrush. It's very, very nice. And here is something that I made. It's not going to go anywhere, but this is bamboo skewers. Okay, so all those guys that want to do kebabs or whatever, you get a whole big pack of these things, pointy end down there, flat end down here. Oop, and right there actually still has a sword in it from a Deus Vult model that I had painted. It's a knight on foot, and when I painted him, I neglected the scabbard. So he has a sword drawn, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this scabbard and then cut the hilt and whatnot off of it and glue it on his side. But yeah, well, found a model bit that was neglected. So what I do, this is how I airbrush. Just hold it at a distance, and you can turn these little skewers around and, you know, not get your fingers, not have to wear gloves. I do have gloves, but yeah. So it's like a forest here, but what you do is you take out a bunch of these, lay them to the one side, and have them spaced however much you need to have whatever item dry. And usually, you know, what I'm going to do, of course, it's these tiny things like this sword here. But I'm going to take the knights on the back of the horses. They weren't glued on. So I'm going to put a pin in there, just like old school. If anybody from the 90s ever rocked Bretonians or Chaos Knights or anything like that, or Empire for that matter, they had a lot of mounted dudes. You gave them the little wanger up there. And what you did, well, the easy way to paint them is just clip it. You know, it's inhumane, but that's what you do. You clip that bad boy, and then you can rotate it and prime them however you want and use your airbrushes to get nice detail on the models. And this is actually heavily used in Gunpla. Whenever you're building all those individual armor pieces, they have parts that link in together, so you can clip those little bits on the inside to where the outside of the armor is exposed. And these are really helpful for that, for airbrushing and keeping that smooth contour, the smooth texture without fingerprints. So I love this. And I'm not a cork guy. I'm not an old paint bottle guy. I don't like to hold models like that. Or, you know, this is how I hold models. I hold the bases. On the rim of the bases is how I hold them. I actually have some models here that are about due for getting a prime job. These are some Mercs models. Back here I have the EIC. And then up front I have my Texaco models. I didn't put together one Texaco model because I'm kind of looking for a very rare bit that goes with it. And it's a clear acrylic smoke piece, because the Texaco dude is sporting a jetpack. He's called the Eagle. He's a really cool model, and I would just like to get that acrylic piece before I go you know, putting them together and whatnot. I want all my pieces together. Kind of a model snob. And, you know, I like the rare stuff. I like the stuff that's hard to get. So I may never put together the Eagle, but, you know, I doubt it. You know, I can make my own smoke stuff and whatnot. I've done it before with, I believe her name was Shadow Sun, is a Tau, really badass fighter. And she had a jetpack on her, and I made this cool smoke thing. But anyway, if I don't have pictures, it never happened, right? So here, when I'm painting, I just hold models like this. And I paint as I go. I can manipulate the model however I want. It's the way I guess the muscles in my hands have developed. Yeah. So I don't know. A lot of guys, these little cork things, they hold it like that or whatever. And then Games Workshop came out with that goofy holder vise thing, and people bought into that. Oh, dudes, go ahead and get an old paint bottle. Get a chunk of wood. Don't feed the monster, okay? I remember a few years ago they had a paint cup. It was a mug with the Games Workshop logo. That thing was like $20. It's like, don't buy it. Get an old Christmas mug. Get something, World's Best Boss, whatever the freak. Don't feed the monster, okay? You beaten housewives out there, don't do it. And anyway, so Merck's Miniatures, they got dogs, little dogs, and the dog does not have a bomb. It doesn't have a bomb. It just tears your legs up, and then if you fall down, it will tear your throat and face up, so there you go. And you know what? It's realistic. Look, it's the same size. It's realistic. It's not some gigantic mastiff. This is what people would use in real life. I mean, they wouldn't use, this is goofy balls. I don't know. He beat up like some kid's crane game, stole the claw out of it. Yeah, dude, I'm going to go to war with I'm halfway tempted to put a fuzzy teddy bear in that claw. It's like, come on, man, you're not scaring anybody with that crap. Everyone in this game has guns. Come on, dude. Anyway, that's how I feel about it. I mean, this guy's way scarier. He has a potato gun. Can't you hear it? But anyway, yeah, so the potato gun guy totally beats out kid claw game guy every day of the week. Oh yeah, you could probably put a small kid in there or something. But anyway, definitely potatoes. So, but yeah, I hold the models like that. I don't do any of the goofy, well, I call it goofy. A lot of people like it, so maybe I'm the goofy one. But I've just been painting so long like this that, yeah. I want to say cork wasn't invented back then, but yeah, no, it was totally invented back then. But anyway, so I'm going to get to priming these guys. I just wanted to show you guys what I did for my setup here. And this is just, 4x4 block. I know that the price of lumber is through the roof, so this is like $1,000 piece of wood. So you could do it with something smaller. A 2x4 definitely would work. I didn't have one at the time, and this was actually the smallest piece of wood I had. So just take a drill, figure out what size drill bit this would be for you, and drill a bunch of straight holes. Don't follow my example. My example, is I've got some crooked ones and whatnot. I think my kids came in and were talking to me while I was drilling the holes for this. But yeah, it just takes not much time. Just bzz, 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 and you can stick. You got everything upright. It's nice. I used to, and that's why I stopped doing it. I used to use my terrain. If you can see my fancy holes there, yeah, and really, it's a hill. That's fine. Yeah, it would just go straight in, and that's exactly what I would do. I would sacrifice terrain so that I could have models drying and not have fingerprints or anything on it, and me not have to wear those goofy nitrate gloves or whatnot, whatever they are. So, because the gloves, come on, you take them off and they make your hands smell funky and whatnot, so I don't like them. But anyway, so there's the airbrush for you. I'm not going to show you how I use it or any of that stuff. It's just what I use personally. You got to have yourself a little desktop trash can, the thinners, water, just to run through the system. Make sure it's not funky stank water. That won't sit here for years and years. It'll be used up or thrown. A good solid compressor, And you don't need to buy, like, okay, this airbrush is stupid expensive. It's very, very nice, but it's stupid expensive. So you can get any of the Iwatas, Badgers, all that stuff. You can get that stuff and it will work, okay? You're not gonna get the finest of details and all that good stuff. I know that Iwata has some high-end brushes and whatnot, but I mean, for me, it's German engineering. Harder and Steinbeck, you know, come on, man. There's quality in there. You can just feel it. You're paying for it. You do pay for it, but you won't go wrong. You won't go wrong with this at all. You don't need it though, especially you guys just starting out, man. Oh my gosh. Hey, if you're just starting out, that's right. Rattle can that mess up, okay? Yeah, rattle can it up. But this is really good for the details. And if you didn't want to spend this kind of money, you could actually probably buy 2 of these sets, if not 3 of these sets, that come with 3 Harder and Steinbeck brushes. And you get all this paint. And they make different sets of this. This is just one type of paint, and that's the World War II paint, but they make different ones. They have a fantasy one with different paints involved in there. I think they have a basic set as well. So look for those on eBay. This one I got busted up. I did not treat my stuff like this. But yeah, airbrushing is expensive. You know, I'm still kind of old school where I do most of my stuff with paint brushes. I have to. It's how I like to do things. But this, you can get a lot of work done. The super fine details, like, you know, the retinas and whatnot on eyeballs on these 28 millimeter models is just not going to happen with an airbrush unless you're dead hands. Plus, I would rather paint that myself anyway. It's just how I've always done it. The skill set from people that have been doing this for a while are far different than the young kids just doing YouTube tutorials and stuff like that. Now, they could be, you know, paint wizards and whatnot, but there's different skill sets. I don't even think that they would do woodworking to do something as simple like this and get this set up. They might go and buy something from Green Stuff World, but tout les mots. Okay, guys, that's everything. That's all that I got for you. Make sure to fight dry tip, toothbrush, Q-tips. All right, man. Y'all take it easy. Carry a liaison.